Our dog and cat had passed away a few years earlier, and my wife Helen and I were looking forward to our forthcoming retirement. But all that changed about 3 years ago, when on a typical Sunday morning I was making my way out the front door to collect the morning newspaper, and I spotted a dog on the other side of the road. At the same time he saw me, and together we stopped to look at each other. Without any prompting, the dog made his way across the road towards me. He seemed like a friendly dog and allowed me to give him a pat. He was a Staffordshire Bull Terrier, black in colour with some white markings. He was a young dog, and I estimated his age to be maybe 12 or 18 months. Interestingly, he had no collar or identification. He seemed to warm to me, and he wouldn't leave my side. I called my wife, and she took an instant liking to the dog. She said, "Let's keep him. He's obviously heaven sent." And I said, "Not so fast. Let's put him in the backyard to keep him safe, and we'll see if we can locate his owners." We subsequently advertised him in the local paper and on the local radio, but to no avail. After 4 or 5 days, we took him to the vet to see if he had an ID chip implanted in him, but we were informed he had none. This left a dilemma. Do we leave him at the vet, knowing he'll be put into dog pound, or do we keep him? Once again, my wife said, "He hasn't cost us anything. It's meant to be." So almost overnight, we obtained a new member into the family. Charlie, as we called him, was a friendly and likeable dog who liked to be around people. He did show some aggression towards dogs and cats, but we also discovered that he had a major problem. He suffered from separation anxiety. He was fine when there was somebody home, but he would seek to destroy anything and everything he could get his paws and jaws on. He completely wrecked our backyard. All the sprinklers and drippers were all chewed up. He dug big holes in the garden beds. If you didn't know better, you would swear it looked like a war scene from the Middle East. It seemed punishment made no difference. A friend of ours said that this is typical of dogs who suffer from severe separation anxiety. Charlie continued to wreck anything and everything he could get his jaws on, and so much so that we decided to do a complete backyard renovation. We put in new paths, put in new lawn, we replaced all the sprays and sprinklers with drippers, and we covered them over with drippers and bark and mulch so that he couldn't find them. I thought I'd be really smart, and we put in that new subsurface drip irrigation that you put in under the lawn. But imagine our dismay when one day we come home to discover that Charlie had ripped up a huge section of lawn together with the dripper line. That was the final straw. In a fit of rage, I said to my wife, "This dog's not heaven sent, this is a dog from hell." And with that, I started to make arrangements to get Charlie rehoused. A friend of ours worked for a local organisation who found new homes for dogs and cats. Bev was her name, and she told me she would need a photograph to put on the website. Well, we all know criminals don't like having their photos taken. And Charlie was no different. Try as I may, I couldn't get a suitable photo to put on the website. In the meantime, Bev's hounding me and said, "John, where's this photo?" In the end, I had to say, "Look, Bev, I just can't get one. We've mellowed a bit. We're going to keep him. We'll give him another chance." He did settle down a little bit after that. We discovered he liked to be inside, and we could often leave him alone for 1 or 2 hours, and he was quite happy. The next big test came in July last year when we had to go away for 4 weeks. We had arranged for Charlie to be looked after in a local kennel. Not your average kennel that's $17 a day, but a special kennel that charges $27 a day plus the cost of food. Charlie had expensive taste. This kennel is run by a local, another vet, who does take extra special care of her guests. They have a resident ginger cat, and surprisingly, the cat shows no fear of Charlie. And Charlie also tolerates the cat, which is very unusual. $800 later, and the vet said that Charlie was a model guest and was well behaved. A few days after we got him home, I awoke one morning to what sounded like the neighbour working down the side of the house. Unbeknown to me, it was Charlie attacking the power point to our hot water service. And I only discovered it later when I realised we had no hot water. $250 later, and the electrician said that we were lucky we had installed a safety switch in the meter box. Otherwise, Charlie would probably have electrocuted himself. I kept my cool because we had left him alone for 4 weeks. And Charlie did settle down a bit, but he developed a limp in his rear hind leg. The vet put him on anti-inflammatory tablets. Mind you, $50 for 12 tablets, 1 a day. But when that didn't seem to work, Charlie had to have an X-ray and an anaesthetic. $300 later, and the vet said, I think he's got arthritis and he'll need ongoing medication. But Charlie enjoyed his walks, but because of the arthritis, wasn't able to go for long walks. Early this year, we had to go away again for a couple of weeks. So once again, we put Charlie in the 5-star accommodation. Now the vet there is into alternative animal health, and she asked if it was permission to do some healing work on Charlie while we were away, and we said yes, of course. $500 later, and she tells us that Charlie is probably suffering from an ACL injury. Can you believe that? I thought only footballers got ACL injuries, but apparently it is quite common amongst dogs. So then Charlie had to have hydrotherapy, massage, and some more special concoctions, some herbs that he has to have. This dog that we didn't want grew so much in our heart. Not straight away, but over time. Charlie has settled down now and seems to have his separation anxiety under control. Charlie tries to always gives us his best. And he's always eager to please with his love, his loyalty, his unconditional acceptance and appreciation, and his companionship. They say a man's best friend is his dog, and Charlie is no exception. Who's the first one to greet me as I walk through the front door? Well, I can tell you, it's not my wife. And who follows me around the yard and in the house like a shadow? Yes, it's Charlie. Josh Billings once wrote that a dog is the only animal that loves you more than he loves himself. And how true is that? If Charlie's original owners could only see him now, I'm sure they would be jealous with envy. But when I tell them how much we've spent on him, I'm sure they would say, thank goodness he found you. For Charlie, every morning is like Christmas morning. Every walk is his best walk. And every meal is his best meal. In closing, I'll leave you with something to think about. If you spell dog backwards, what do you get? Yes, Charlie truly is heaven sent.